Hi, this is Celestine, and welcome to all the replay viewers and everybody that's viewing me today. I'm going to do some coloring today, so I thought I'd go ahead and do it on Periscope so folks can join me. I have loved doing the coloring and paper piecing my Julie Nutting stamps. So hold on, I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to get started. And for some reason, I can't see the chat, but we're going to get that fixed here. Here's my dowel that I'm going to color. And I have my thing at a funny angle, so hopefully I don't knock it over in the course of drawing. What we're going to do is color one of these dowels. Now, these dowels I cut out, and I showed last Periscope I did these dowels that I cut out and I colored. This is one that I used the stamp, the Julie Nutting stamp. This stamp here to color. And so this stamp is the one I used. Sorry for the glare. And I cut it out and I used some gold paper that came from, I think it was called the paper store. It's old. I had it a long time. To cut out the dress. And then I used a Christmas pad that I got from everybody's favorite bargain spot, Tuesday morning. A Christmas pad, welcome Christmas, to cut out the other pieces. So what I'm going to do is use, I don't use Copic markers because I can't afford those. I use a concept marker, it's called. And this is one of them. And this is a brown shade. I don't know if the colors match, but what I'm going to do here is turn my camera so I can reach here. And I'm going to color around the edges of the face. Now I'm going to make this sort of a dark featured person. And mid to dark. So I'm coloring around the outside of the face and then under the chin with the neck. Neck is normally dark. And I regularly do, and I don't know why, do the faces first and then I do the shading on the rest. The next I'm going to use a sand, which is a shade lighter. So let me show you. The first color I used, this was the first color, which is sort of, I think it's called potato brown. It looks like sweet potatoes to me. And this is the sand. So then I'm going to work in that potato brown with the sand. And this just happens to be the names that are with this brand. The concept. I got these from Jerry's Artorama. And that gives me in the background paper, as those of you that have seen Julie Nutting stamps before, that very commonly the background for the faces and the bodies is a text paper. I'm not sure where I got this paper from. It's Making Memories, it says. It's called Varnish Floral. But anyway, that's what I'm using for the background of the face. Now, I could add, and this is another cheap marker, it's called, just says art marker, but it is an alcohol marker. I could use this very dark to emphasize this areas that I want to be extra dark. And this is a very dark brown. You see, so there's my 3 shades of brown that I'm using. And then I can go back with the mid potato brown, which is that mid color here, and work that dark brown in and make around the edges a little bit darker. And then one more time with the sand to work all that in over the whole thing and work all that in. And just that fast, I have done the face. Now, because the rest is paper pierced, you're looking and you say, okay, what's she going to do with the rest of it? This is going to be an awful short video. No, because the rest of the dress, etc., still needs to be shaded even though I did paper. So we're going to start. I'm going to get out the right colors to shade the dress. And I'm going to use a cool gray, a very dark warm gray, a mid-tone warm gray, a blending, and if I can find my light, here's a very light warm gray. So we'll start with and I'm going to put those shades off to the side here. So here's the very light warm gray. You probably can't even see that I did anything there. This is the dark warm gray, which is almost black. And here's the mid-shade warm gray. So those are the shades I'm going to use to shade this body. I'm also going to use this light warm gray also. So it's or light cool gray. That's a light cool gray. So those are the two light shades I'm going to use, and that's the dark shade. So, okay, we're going to start with the mid shade. Which is pretty dark, as you see. And I'm going to go and shade the dark side of the ruffles in the dress. And the lines in the dress are there from the stamp and the ruffles. Then under the ruffle, where the coat and the dress meet, or the ruffle and the under ruffle meet, and I'm going to shade alongside all these areas, shade the outside of the skirt. Now I'm going to shade the waist, under the arms, underneath the arms, and the light source is coming from this side. I'm going to put this bottle right here to represent the light. So everything on this side is going to be a little lighter, but underneath the arms, and I'm bumping the camera, I'm sorry about that. And I have the camera so close, I don't have a lot of room to work in, but there we go. Now, because I did this all with the mid color, I need to come back and emphasize some pieces of that with the darker color. Okay, one thing I'm going to do is make the buttons stand out a little more, because even though the buttons were stamped on, they don't show up very well. So I'm going to emphasize the buttons a little more. Emphasize the ruffles a little more. Emphasize under the dress where the ruffles meet. And then put a little emphasis on the waist and under the arms. So I'm doing that with the extra dark. I'm going to emphasize the bottom of the pleats too. Okay, there. Now I'm going to blend those in using the light cool. I'm going to blend those in. And because this paper is foiled, this gold paper is foiled, it's leaving me a lot of blending time here, so it's giving me a lot of room to blend this color. Okay, I'm pretty much done with the dress. I'm going to put a little light under the buttons and a little down the front where the buttons meet. A little shading where the buttons meet. I did the collar. I'm going to do a little shading where the collar meets. A little shading on the shoulders. Next thing I think I'll do is shade the hair. I'm going to go back to my browns to shade the hair. I'm going to use the dark brown that I had, and this is just a cheap art marker, it's called. But it works fine, and it is an alcohol marker. I'm shading the center of the hair where the part is. That's always the darker part, and always the darker part is under the neck. I'm making a little bit of a flicking. When you do your hair, you flick your, like that. You flick your strokes, and I'm flicking a little bit there. Again, remember I made the light come from this side, so this side I'm going to make darker. There we go. Since this is a dark brown hair, I'm only going to do one color. I could add a little of the dark gray in there too, but I think I like just that shading, that amount of shading in the hair. Okay, now I'm going to take the darkest gray that I was using. Again, that was the darkest gray. Looks almost black there. And I'm going to shade the tights. And I'm just going to outline the tights for shading. I'm not going to do any fancy shading on the tights, just outline them. And then I'm going to shade the boots. And I'm going to add the bottom of the boots, where the bottom of the boots, I'm going to make the soles black or the dark. So again, I'm just outlining these at this point. I think to the boots, I will add a little bit of shading to the dark sides. And I'm going to use the light cool gray. The lightest shade of the cool gray. And shade the side that's away from the light. There we go. And there's my boots. And this dial is pretty much complete. One thing that I normally do when I do my dials, I could do a lot more shading on here if I chose, but I think I like her right where she is right now. One thing I normally do is I use my jelly roll pen to add some highlights. Only because this is the most fun part. And I'm using that flicking stroke to add these highlights. And I'm just putting in some strokes going the same direction that the hair would go. On the light side of the hair, light side of the collar. A little dot on my buttons to make them stand out. Light side of the shoulder. Light side of all the ruffles. I'm not going to add anything to the hose, but I am going to add some shading, some highlighting to the fur on the boots. And a little bit of highlight to the top of the toe of the boot. That'll give the boot a glossy look to make it look like it's a glossy fabric that's used. Okay. Now, I can always add more shading if I choose. I could add, but I think this is good. I'll cut her out. And I had the question, what I do with my dowels. I generally cut them out and put them on the front of greeting cards. I put them in anything that I make. I'll throw a card into, throw a girl in it. I'll put them in with pocket letters. I just love these dowels. You can put them on tags. They make great, on tags, they make great bookmarks. And I do use my tags as when I make tags, I use those tags as bookmarks when I'm reading. So, I just added in a little of the light gray again, just blended it, did a little more blending. You can keep going as long as you want with this, but I'm satisfied with what she looks like right now. I'm going to move her a little closer. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Look-see at how I color my dowels. And thank you so much. And I'm sorry if you made any comments or had any and I missed it. I'm sorry. I got carried away with coloring and didn't look at my comments, but thank you so much for watching, and I hope to do another Periscope soon. Thank you.